There is a dark cloud over the horizon of American Jewry. Jews in the Galut in general, but particularly in the United States. The Jewish community, the Orthodox Jewish community, was hit very, very hard with the coronavirus. We know. We've been paying attention. We've been following the news. It was hit much, much harder than here in Israel, and it's been bad in Israel. And now, the race war, the riots, white privilege, Jew privilege, stores being destroyed and trashed, policemen being murdered in the streets by mobs. The police are unable to control the situation, and we have a very, very serious problem. Not just the pandemic and the economic fallout of the pandemic, and God knows when we will be able to recover, when the corona will be over, when we'll be able to recover, how many years this will take. People's lives have been destroyed, the economy is being shattered, and now this. After the lockdown, and still amid the lockdown, there's nowhere to go after the lockdown. All the stores have been destroyed in the major cities across America, in Manhattan, and in Chicago, and in Los Angeles. What will be? And if this is not a sign from heaven to the Jewish people, a wake-up call to come home to Israel now. It's much safer here, not just with regards to the corona. But what about the race war raging in the streets? What if it gets worse? Who will protect you? The police can't protect themselves. They can't protect the major cities throughout the United States. Definitely a time to consider coming home to Israel. And I want to relate in this week's Parsha, we see something very, very interesting. The heavenly cloud which hovered over the Jewish people throughout their journey in the desert. And we know that the Jews moved when the clouds would move, and when the clouds would rest over the tabernacle then and over the camp, then the Jews would stay there. It could be overnight, it could be for a long period. And it says here, and the verses go through this in Bamidbar, in this week's Parsha in Baruch, chapter 9. ולפי העלותיהן מעל האוהל ואחריכן יצאו בני ישראל. And if the cloud would stay, then they would stay, and if the cloud would move, then they would move. And the psukim go, and the verses go through this in great detail, and it seems to be superfluous, because suffice to say, when the cloud is there, you're there. When the cloud is moving, you're moving. But we see that the verses go through great detail, multiple verses explaining this situation. And it seems to me that this is also a message to the Jewish people. There is a dark cloud over the horizon of American Jewry today, and you have to be blind not to see it. It's time to move. It's time to make that journey to Israel. America was a wonderful, wonderful place for Jews for many years. But that which was, as Rabbi Kahana would say, is not always that which will be. And it's time to come home to Israel. We see later in the parsha, it says, the parsha talks about making the trumpets. And it says, when there's a war in the land, when the enemy attacks you, you sound the trumpets. And this will remind God, and He will save you from your enemies. And the Rambam says, based on the Gemara Masechet Tanit, the following, on this very verse, in chapter 10 in Bamidbar. Mitzvah tasemi Torah bezoku l'hariya b'chatzotzrot al kol tzara shedavo l'tzibur. Whenever there's any kind of tragedy, not just a war, you have to blow the trumpets to wake the Jewish people up, to wake the Jewish people up to do tshuva, and in turn God to remember the Jewish people. And you will blow the trumpets. Klomar, the Rambam says, Kol davar sheyatzar lechem kegon batzoret v'dever v'arbe, anything, a plague, a corona, you have to wake up and you have to sound the trumpets, you have to fast, you have to research and find out what it is that we need to fix. And this is the basic path of repentance. When there is a tragedy that comes, you have to wake up. You have to see the wake-up call, and you have to research and see what it is that we need to mend. Yedua kol shebeglau maseim hara'im hu ra lahem. And it's because of our bad deeds, as Jeremiah says in chapter 5, Avonotechem hitu ele. It is because of your deeds that this has been brought about. Zeu shegrom lehem lasir atzara me'alehem. Aval im yomu, but the Rambam continues, but in the laws of Tanit, in the first chapter, if you think davar zemimin hagolan, you say, no, this is just a coincidence, or it's not really a pandemic, or it's just like the flu. There's no reason to get excited. This causes you to attach yourself to your evil deeds and never to do tshuva. When we get a punishment, when we get this wake-up call, this is a present to us. This is the mercy of God that gives us the opportunity to correct our ways. And if you say that this is keri, that this is just a coincidence, then God will be more coincidence. I want to tell you something. We have been so lucky in Israel, but we did not appreciate. You have to bless God for the good, and you have to see the good, and you also have to wake up and see the bad when it's happening, and see what needs to be corrected. And if not, then it's all for naught. And that's the message I have for you today. The trumpets are blasting, the clouds are moving. It's time to come home to Israel to continue that journey. The time is now.